All right. He came in, snuggled up, and then just as I was doing the thing, and just as I was ready to go live, he goes and he sits right outside the door. And he tells, when I said, all right, he had his head turned towards me, and then he just sauntered off. He's such a brat, but I love him. I love him. Those cats are just wonderful. I think they've been good for the little oldie goldies, and they've definitely been good for us. So, I have green stuff on my book. Chlorophyll mark. I must have had it on my hands one day. Okay, so we are doing Hidden Power of the Bible. Let's do the housekeeping. And all the housekeeping is me reminding you that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. Website is creativelife.org. Constant contact, email, info@creativelife.org. When I say constant contact, it's a service, okay? It's just, it's the service that we use to manage our email. So, and why that's important is because one of the things that it gives us the ability to do is blind CC, which means nobody will see your email. You won't end up on anybody else's email list because of us. And then there was a follow-up to that. Hang on, what was it? Oh, you only get one a week. That's the other thing. You get one email a week, tells you what's going on for the week and the month, and the hot links are hot. So, click here now means it. And when I say one, I mean it. It's a real person doing it. He just doesn't have time for more than that. So the only reason you would get another one is if something unusual happens. At which point I will point out, we do live on the Gulf Coast, and it is hurricane season. Or monsoon, take your pick. Monsoon season, it's been very wet. Very wet. Although we are now about to be hot and dry for a week, so I may miss the rain. Yeah, no, I like it when it rains. I love clouds. Oh my goodness, I love clouds. There's so many cloud pictures on my phone, it's not even funny. So, actually it is. It is a little fun. There are also a ton of squirrel pictures and blue jay pictures, and the woodpecker, the male and the female woodpecker came out today. And he got at least 3 peanuts. I know I saw her once, but him, yeah. So, all right. We are doing, did I finish? No, I didn't do the social media. So the social media is, I mention it merely because we don't monetize it. We don't want to deal with the ads anymore than you do. So we ask you to like, subscribe, follow based on which platform you're on, and then engage with the individual post by reacting, commenting, and sharing. It bumps us in the algorithm. So free and easy way that you can support the centers by getting our stuff in front of more people. So, and we are Creative Life Spiritual Center or Creative Life Spark, and I am the running room Ryan across all of the social medias that I am on. So, Hidden Power of the Bible. I like to turn it either way to show you. It's not a very big book. So what Ernest did was he picked out, he says what he thinks are the most relevant selections from the Bible. Okay? And I will point out to you that Ernest believed that he was a Christian. Okay? And I'm not sure he would consider us a Christian organization per se, but we are definitely based in the teachings of Jesus. There's a difference. We can quibble about that later. Because the part, he did a little bit from the Hebrew Testament, mostly Genesis and what he called the teachings of Moses, the 10 Commandments. And then, but the bulk of the book is spent on the teachings of Jesus. So, this was originally called The Bible in Light of Religious Science. Now it's called The Hidden Power of the Bible. But it could easily be Ernest's favorite Jesus sayings. It could be. So we are doing Matthew 7, which is where the judge not least you be judged is. And so that is still what we are talking about. Because the title today, we're going to do 3 of them. And the one we are going to start with is An Evolved Soul Judges No One. Every soul, in its struggle to scale the heights of spiritual perception, must, on the way, express itself at the level of its own evolution, its own mental horizon. A careful study of psychology shows that those who continually condemn are either bound by the morbidity and intolerance of a false religion and a narrow philosophy, or else they are suffering from an inferiority complex. Okay? Ultimately, we shall see that the universe rests on the shoulders of love, that God is love, and that all the errors of humanity are the result of ignorance of their own true nature. The happy outlook on life is always constructive, and the understanding heart is filled with sympathy and helpfulness to all. And an evolved soul judges no one, condemns no one, but realizes that all are on the road of experience, seeking the same goal, and that each must ultimately find their home in heaven. And that's, I think that's, it's a very peaceful place in life to realize that I don't have to judge people, that people can live their own lives, and I don't have to worry about it. It's not my job. As long as they are not hurting themselves or hurting anyone else, what they do is none of my business. I don't have to worry about it. And it's very comforting, and it gives me a whole lot less to manage. Because trust me, managing this is enough. I don't need to manage anybody else. And that, I think that's where, that judge not lest you be judged. Well, I don't have time to manage your life. And I don't want you managing mine. I'm not going to judge you. As long as you are not hurting yourself or hurting anyone else, you do you, boo. And I'm good with that. So now, if you are hurting somebody or hurting yourself, then we're gonna have to have words. But whatever else you do, I mean, you want to dye your hair like a peacock? Go for it. I'll tell you, it's beautiful. Whatever it is that you want to do, go for it. Tattoo yourself up, pierce yourself, love who you want to love. I don't need to manage you. You don't need to manage me. We can get along, right? An evolved soul judges no one, because an evolved soul understands you're going to get there. And all I can do is show you the guideposts, and or at least leave them out where you can see them. Okay, a psychological experiment with plants. One of our scientific writers in the realm of spiritual psychology tells of an experiment in which some friends of his conducted with 2 rose bushes. Going out each morning, they condemned one and praised the other, saying to one, "You were miserable, worthless little plant," and to the other, "You are beautiful and growing magnificently," with the result that in a short time the mistreated bush shriveled and died, while the other one bloomed and flowered in beauty and abundance. Is it any wonder that Luther Burbank, who so loved his plants, could produce marvelous effects with them? Is it any wonder that the mother who continuously condemns her, the mother who is continuously, all right, hang on, let me try this again. Is it any wonder that a parent who is continuously condemning their children finds them irritable and hard to manage, while the parent who thinks of their children as being harmonious and happy is lifting their little souls to the light, thus helping them reflect the divine reality? Yeah, I've seen that replicated in a variety of ways. It is one of the reasons why I do speak kindly to my plants. But it is also the reason that I try and speak kindly to everybody, including children. I'm not the biggest fan of children. I was never meant to be a mother, really, honestly. But I will always speak kindly to children because I'm not going to say that word. I'm not a jerk. I'm not a jerk. And 2, they deserve better. They deserve better. They deserve to be seen as the little godlings that they are, even when they're behaving badly. Even when they're behaving badly. It is one of the reasons why I speak kindly to animals, even when they're behaving badly, because they deserve to be seen as the little godlings that they are. And the experiments do show, and it worked. The other, it was a couple of weeks ago when, my husband and I we were riding our bikes and we came across 3 German Shepherds and like literally came face to face with one of them. And I could have chosen to yell and scream, but what I chose to do is speak kindly to the dog. And the dog was like, oh, okay. And left me alone. So I don't know, probably nothing would have happened even if I yelled at the dog, but I chose kindness because I thought it would work better. So, all right, last one. Very short. The home atmosphere. Could we know the action of thought and clearly see its effects, we would never again condemn anyone, but would look upon all with love. The wife who keeps her home in an atmosphere of cheer, never allowing herself to be morbid or fearful, will generally find that her husband would swim the ocean, cross the desert, or scale the mountaintops to be with her. If we better understand the action of thought, we understand why it is that the person who says the world is against me, no one understands me, no one appreciates me, makes it impossible for good to come to them. Yep. So it really does come down to that. Okay. It really does come down to that when we look upon people kindly, they respond kindly. We have a number of, customers who have had difficult lives, or they're going through difficult situations, and sometimes they come in grumpy, and we almost always respond kindly. There are situations, occasionally, especially if they are abusive, you have to respond in kind and clearly state that you're not going to put up with this. But just the number of people who come through our doors they're having a rough day, and the least I can do is not make it worse. The best that I can do is to be kind. And it's easy. It is easy. It is easy to be kind, even in the face of people who are difficult. Most of the time. And then every now and again, every one of us has a human moment. But one time that I did have a very human moment, the customer has been a lot more polite. I think that, I don't know what was going on. He's just always that way. And then he caught me on a really bad day, and then I just realized, if I say what I'm going to say, then I'm not going to stop. And so I walked away and literally walked away. Like I walked out of the store. I told my coworker, I can't deal with this. Handed her the phone, walked off. And ever since then, he's been way more polite because my coworker said, look, you know what? She's having a really bad day, and here's why. And he's been a whole lot more polite since. And I think he just needed to be reminded that we're human too, and that we have bad days too. And kindness goes a long way. Kindness goes a long way. And he's been a lot kinder. He's still who he is, but, he's a lot kinder. And so am I. So, you meet with kindness. That home atmosphere. And that's the atmosphere that I try and cultivate everywhere. I want my home to be a safe and happy environment. I want my work to be a safe and happy environment. So, I cultivate that within. I cultivate that kindness within myself, so that wherever I am, that home atmosphere of kindness is part of me, and it's how I try and meet the world. I try and meet the world with kindness, not judgment, and for the most part, it works. It's pretty good. All right, well, I got a Scooby-Doo episode waiting for me, so I am going to encourage you now to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a catter day. I'm going to have a catter day. I'm going to crash out on my couch and cuddle with my cats. So I hope that you have Cuddle Your Fur Babies Day, hang on. I'm just got myself all discombobulated. And it's okay. I'm done. I don't have anything else to do today. This is it. This is my only responsibility. Drink plenty of water day. Be aware of the heat day. You got this day. And make sure you make time to rest day. Eat something really amazing day. Take care of whatever it is you need to do day. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough just as you are. You're a beloved expression of the divine. You're a brilliant light, divine spark, spirit in motion, God in action, and an absolutely beautiful masterpiece. And a work in progress at the same time, at your own pace. That is my favorite part of that sentence. And as Reverend Jesse likes to say, you are a godling. Explore the truth of your being. Get to know who the divine knows you to be, because the divine knows you to be good. And from there, anything is possible. Anything at all. All right, beloveds, as I said, I'm going to move on. No, there is no process today. The only other thing that I want to do today, because it is not a need, is at some point I'm going to come back and read I think we're on chapter 9 of this book. And I don't know what I was about to say after that, so here we are. So that is my only responsibility today. So I'm going to remind you, Reverend David will be on. Hang on. Yeah. Reverend David will be on sometime this afternoon. He's generally sometime after 5 o'clock. I am going to come back around 3:30, and we're going to do chapter 9 in Emma Curtis Hopkins' High Mysticism. And then I will be back on tomorrow morning, probably in that 9-ish hour, I think. And then we're going to start with why people are successful. I think it's why people are successful. So, that's where we are. All right, beloveds, take care of yourself. Know that you are loved.